Hi guys, it's great to be on YouTube again. Today I'm going to talk a bit about transportation in Belize, mainly getting to Belize, leaving Belize, getting around the island, San Pedro Island in specific, and getting to the island, as well as any of the excursions and how about we went with transportation for that. So, getting to Belize, we took a WestJet flight right into Belize International Airport, and from there you can get a taxi. So what I read online is the taxis are typically between 20 to 30 American dollars. I think it's $20 if you're a couple, but because there's three of us, it was going to end up being $40 because they just charge a base rate. Is what I've read online. We ended up pairing off with a girl from Canada. We met her in Canada at the airport, and she asked us if she could go with us in the taxi to the water taxi spot, and I'll include all of those where we ended up in the about below. But basically, she paired up with us, and it was going to come to $10 American each for the taxi ride in. So we kind of saved her a bit of money because she would have had to spend more just for herself to get there. But he did ask us, do we know each other? Because then he would have upped the price if we didn't. So if you are by yourself, I would say try to find someone who else is willing to go with you for a taxi into town because it'll be a lot cheaper. We just said she was one of our cousins. I actually didn't even know her name, but we just said, oh, she's my cousin. She's been here before. And then we just exchanged names afterwards once we got to the water taxi spot. So once you get to the water taxi spot, you pay for your ticket. Well, even before that, they'll help you out and they'll take your luggage and they'll give you a little tag for your luggage. And then they take your luggage, you go and you purchase that water taxi ticket. And then once in line, you just wait. There's two lines, one from San Pedro Island and one for Caulker. You both end up on the same boat, but they board first, unless there's another boat before that, and then most of them go on that. But our boat stopped at Caulker, and then we headed on to San Pedro. I'll provide the details of how much it was for the water taxi. We ended up getting a round trip ticket so that when we came back, it was just ended up to be cheaper. So we used the San Pedro Express. Now there is another ferry. It's called Ocean Ferry, I think is called. I can't 100% recall. One of the reasons we ended up with San Pedro one was because she had directed him towards that. So I know the other one is a bit cheaper, and we did use that boat to get between San Pedro and Caulker, the Ocean Ferry one. It's just not as nice. So if you are going to do that to save some money, it is not as nice of a boat as the other one. Not that both of them are overly that like luxurious to be in for the 2 hours. It's just, I think the San Pedro Express was just a bit nicer. It had actual seats in the middle, and I don't know, I liked it a lot more, having been on both of them. So once you get to the island, so we went to San Pedro, you pretty much rent a golf cart. Golf cart is the best way to get around. You can take a taxi, and anywhere on the island it'll cost you $7 American. So they do use the American currency as well as their own, so you can pay an American and they'll give you back Belize. But two of the days actually, we rented a golf cart, and it was around $40 American. You could probably bargain to get it a bit cheaper. I'd say to try to not go through your hotel because they end up charging you more, like the first time we rented. The second time we rented from, I think it was Rock. I'll provide all of these. Sorry, it's just not coming to mind right now because I did do this trip in December, but basically you pay the $40 and then you just fill up to where they've left off the gas or the petrol, and I would just make sure you know how much petrol they gave you originally and not to fill up any more, because that's the deal. You only fill to what you've used, and if they've given you not that much, then they're just getting more out of it, if you know what I mean. So we used that out of the 2 days, one day to go all the way to the secret beach. Our hotel, when we rented from them, they said that you couldn't go off anywhere that was not gravel, which we did end up doing it, but they said it would cost us $100 if it broke down for them to bring us back. The second guy we rented from, better golf cart, bigger wheels that could do off-roading. He didn't care where you went, so it was cheaper, and he didn't have any restrictions on how far you could go. So my recommendation is to try to not use your hotel, because if they're going to provide have those restrictions on you, then it's really not worth the money, and it's more expensive. You might as well just go to this other guy, Rock something. I'll put it in the link below. Sorry, I can't remember right now. So that's how we got around on the island. I know when we went to Caye, Caulker, I didn't see as many golf carts. I think more people were biking. It is a smaller island. We just walked right to the one beach from the ferry port to the beach, and it wasn't that far. You probably could walk everywhere if you were there. And then for the excursions, they paid for all of our transportation, but the best way for the excursion was to drive, and they have what they call sleeping police, which basically means they have a lot of speed bumps. They had a lot of speed bumps on San Pedro Island, as well as they had a lot of speed bumps on the main bit of Belize. Our tour guide, and I'll be talking about this in another video, he just called them sleeping police the whole time, and it was quite funny. The roads were paved all the way out, no problem with that. I think there wasn't even that much traffic, but again, we went on a Sunday, so it could be a bit different. So I think even getting around, like if you wanted to go on mainland, because we stuck mostly to San Pedro Island, you could easily rent a car and drive it. I wouldn't be afraid at all, even myself, like driving there. It seemed relatively easy, not that many signs, or even police for that matter. Not even that many lights either. A lot of roundabouts, but still, I think it was easily, you could have driven throughout Belize. So leaving Belize and going back to Canada, their airport is really small. So once you're in, you're in. We did read that there might be a departure tax. So we hadn't actually thought about that before, and it would be obviously an American. So it ranged from what we read, anywhere from 50 to 60 American dollars just to leave. And so that was a shocker. But once we got there, we actually ended up not paying any departure tax. So either it was incorporated into our flight, which still to this day I'm not quite sure, or what we read was for a different time frame, if it was like maybe high season, or maybe they just didn't feel like having those people us pay. I am not quite sure. Getting out of Belize wasn't any difficulty. Like the airport, it was small, but there is little food stalls inside. The alcohol is really cheap, so if you're Canadian or American or anyone who wants duty-free alcohol, super cheap. I've got a huge bottle, a 1 liter bottle for $8 American, which is unreal. Yeah, so basically that's all I have on the transportation around Belize. I found a lot of this stuff wasn't written anywhere when I was researching things to do in Belize and what you should and shouldn't do, and transportation. It just wasn't really outlined, so hopefully you find that this video is helpful. I will provide the more details of what I talked about, like the rock. Their name is escaping me and where their location is, but I did save their little business card that they gave me. Also, everywhere they use WhatsApp, so if you don't even have a cell phone plan, I found a lot of places that did have Wi-Fi. Even our hotel had free Wi-Fi, so I just got their number and just WhatsApped the people when we needed the golf cart and all that jazz. So hopefully you like this video, and again, I'll provide everything down and about below so that you can help with your own transportation to and from the airport, around Belize, and even on the islands. Okay, thank you.